Hey Rob, so here's a quick video that I wanted to send along with the statement of work. And in this video, I have two things that I want to do. Okay, so the first thing is I wanted to express my interest and thoughts about MSP and cybersecurity services in general. And also wanted to review the statement of work document to add some additional context and just kind of expand on my thoughts. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So when it comes to this industry, there's a lot that I love about it. I find it really, really exciting. And the first thing is I love the extremely high customer lifetime value. It's amazing to me that some of these people have been with you for like 10 to 15 years and they've paid you over $500,000, which is just insane. It's like you get a customer once and they pay you for life almost. And when I think about it, it's because MSPs are really utility providers. Okay. And here's what I mean by that is like the services that you offer are a necessity. Businesses of a certain size cannot live without them. So it's like you're an electrical company or the water company or something like that, some other utility, their phone bill or something, because they need it in order to do business and survive. And so I think that's what's so wonderful about it is like once people sign up, as long as you don't give them a reason to cancel or switch, they never do, right? The only reason that they do is because they got sold or acquired. Other than that, there's really no reason for them to cancel, as long as you continue to deliver on the services as promised. If you give them a reason to cancel and you mess up, that's when they start thinking about switching. Outside of that, they don't. So I think that's absolutely fantastic. Another thing I love about it is my perception is that the industry is probably mostly full of bad marketing and bad marketers, right? Which means less competition for us. Because this industry, because it's tech, because it's a little bit scary to some people, and there's like, it attracts people with an engineer's mindset, right? Not people with a sales and marketing mindset. Like if we were going to go open a used car lot, there's going to be lots of competition, right? Because that attracts sales and marketers like by the dozen, okay? But this industry doesn't, so which is great because I know how to do that, which means that there'll be less competition. The third thing that I like about it is all the consolidation and lots of buyers in the market, to me, is a good sign. Because one, there'll be somebody to sell to if you want to sell it. And two, that means that they think that there's enough in this industry to be worth putting all this time, money, energy, effort, and attention to it, right? That they're trying to build this, not trying to build some other kind of industry, okay? If that many people are trying to acquire you and, we're just doing $1 million in revenue, that's amazing. It's not like you have to get to 10 million first before somebody wants to buy you, okay? So I think that that's a really good sign. And plus, I've been seeing all these ads lately about, cybersecurity degrees and all this other sorts of stuff. So it's like even colleges are putting a lot of effort and energy and attention to this niche. So that means that there's a good future. There's a good job market for it. So that's another thing that I really, really love about it. Okay. The big challenge, I think, is not being seen as a commodity by buyers. That is the big obstacle here, is that anytime you're dealing with a utility, people start to think about they're going to get the same result no matter which option they go with. So just give me your best price. That's what you start competing on, is price. Okay, so what's your services? What's your normal package? Okay, and only compare that to the 5 other ones that I got that are all basically the same thing, and that way I can just buy the cheapest one. Okay, so that is the big challenge, is making sure that your company stands out, your service package stands out in a way that doesn't allow you to be compared to the competition. You do not want to be seen as a commodity, because that's where it's going to strangle you on price and make it harder to get your services sold, okay? And then lastly, for the future, I think the big challenge is that there's going to be more of a focus on cloud, more of a focus on cybersecurity, and more of a focus on remote work. Those are going to be the big challenges coming up. That MSPs that don't start offering cloud services, that don't start learning more about cybersecurity and putting that into their offerings, and don't have the ability to do remote work, those are the ones that are going to get crushed, okay? That's totally what I see happening, is that you have to learn more about cloud, you have to offer it. You have to learn more about cybersecurity, you have to offer it. And you have to be able to not only, one, run your business remotely, but two, also run your services remotely. That's going to be a huge part of it going further and further into the future. And the companies that survive will learn how to do all these things. Those will be the ones that survive and thrive. The ones that don't will get gobbled up by somebody who does, or just go out of business because they won't be able to compete 5-10 years into the future. That's the way that I see it. Okay. So now let's go over the statement of work. Okay. I just want to talk about each section real quick. just to kind of expand on it, give you my thoughts, just kind of give you a better preview of what it's going to be like working together. That's really what this is about. Okay. So as we know, you provide IT services and IT support for emerging companies and businesses in South Florida and also other geographic markets as you start to expand. And recently you engaged me to brainstorm on some ideas for, coming up with a lead generation program for your business. So that way you could consistently and reliably generate new sales opportunities for your business. And the next phase of this project will be the actual development and implementation of those programs and systems. And say, okay, we discussed 10 different ideas. We found 3 really amazing ones. Now let's actually build those out and start putting them into place so we can start generating some new business for your company. Okay, and that's the objective here. We want to develop one or more lead generation programs that GiaSpace can use to consistently generate new sales opportunities and help you attract several new clients each month and ultimately double your client load in the next 12 months. That's what we would like to do. Okay, I think that is totally doable. Especially if we find something through paid ads that works. Like through paid ads, you just got to spend more money. And if you're getting a return on your ad dollars, it's like you put in $1, you get 2 back. How fast can you spend $1? Right? That's really what it's about. And so that's what's so exciting to me about this is I think that we could really build this into a monster. But let's try this first part of it, see what we can do with some of these initial projects. Okay. So for the scope of work here, you express interest in developing 3 client acquisition models. There's many that we talked about, and there's lots of different ones. But you said everybody does their business a little bit differently, and we only need a few in order to really, really win. Okay. And so what are the different client acquisition channels that I think we should focus on? First is the referral network. Second are business partnerships. And third are the Google search ads. Okay. Now I'm going to go over each one in a little bit more detail. So for the referral network, this has been your main source of new clients for a really long time. And now it's just time to put like formal systems in place to regularly generate new referrals rather than just wait for them to happen. Okay. We just don't want them to just like sprout up. We want to actively get referrals, not just wait for them to happen. So we've already identified several sources for new referrals, including existing clients, previous clients, low voltage wiring companies, local office and building managers, commercial cleaning companies, and many, many more. Okay. So what we would do is we would identify potential referral partners, make like an exhaustive list, then develop a reach out strategy to initiate communication with each one of those referral partners, and then turn each of those into cold reach outs and formal discussions to establish an incentivized referral partnership with that company. So that way they have a reason to want to give us referrals, not just do it off the top of their head when they think about it. Okay. That's what we want to do because it's a warm market. You know you can crush that. Now we just need to find a way to dial that up, right? We need to get more referrals and get them on a regular, consistent basis, not just once every blue moon. So that way you can count on business coming from this, okay? Second thing would be business partnerships. Now, I know you've previously had some close partnerships with related but not competing software companies. So like, for example, you said Microsoft. So in exchange for you acting as the training provider for their workshop, you get the contact information of all the attendees. And these are typically people who are, potential clients. And you also get the opportunity to demonstrate your expertise in front of them and earn like the seal of approval and pat on the back from the big brand name that spent all the money and training and resources to get those people in a room. So just like it makes total sense to leverage this to the hilt as much as possible. So you could be, presented as a potential solution provider for managed IT and cybersecurity. If we get 10 people in a room, ideally you close at least one of them. That if you could do that every time you go on a one-day workshop, that makes total sense to me because these people are going to be worth $500,000 or more. Sounds great. Let's do it. Okay. So similar to the referral network program, we would identify potential businesses that we could partner with in that above fashion that I just talked about, and then develop a reach out strategy to introduce your company to them and a strategy to promote your services to the attendees before, during, and after the event, if possible. So that way we have the highest chances for conversion that we possibly could. Okay. Now, for Google search ads, you have previously engaged some other vendors to assist with Google search marketing, but it seems to have had like little or inconsistent results, right? It's like, well, I know they were running some ads. I don't know what they were doing. They built this landing page, but weren't getting many leads from it, all that other sort of stuff. And I think you have some interest in pursuing this again, right? And Google search ads are the lowest hanging fruit because if you can target the right keywords, you can find people that are looking for a solution today. And we discussed setting up a smaller campaign in a less competitive market so that way we could test our ideas and not pay through the nose on cost per click. And then if we're successful, we can duplicate that campaign to larger markets and expand nationwide if you desire to, okay? Sounds like a no-brainer to me. It's really just how big do you want to go. So first, we would select an exact geographic market. So like we talked about Gainesville, Florida, for example. And then we would do keyword research and generate ads and offers on those landing pages to get people to opt in. So that way we could generate new leads, right? If you're going to be paying, $100 per click, you want a lot of those clicks to turn into leads, right? You don't want people to just go to the page and bounce, okay? So if we're going to be paying money for this, we want the offer to convert once they land on the page. That way we can generate new leads. And then really just comes down to how many clicks do we need to get before we get a lead? So what's our cost per lead? And then how many leads do you need to get before you get a call? So that creates our cost per call. And then how many calls do you have until you close a new client, right? Once we work all those numbers out, then we know the exact cost all the way through, and it ultimately equates into a cost to acquire a customer. And let's say that you had to spend $5,000 on ads to get a new customer. Well, now that we know the customer lifetime value, it's totally fucking worth it. They're going to pay you back in the first month, and then they're going to pay you for 8.5 years and over $500,000. So, okay, that's like a huge, insane return. So that's basically what we'd be doing, and it's just a matter of how fast can we scale that, right? That starts to become the bottleneck after a certain point. It's like, well, if we can generate enough calls, eventually you have to have somebody to handle calls, and then if you can generate enough clients, now you got to be able to fulfill on the orders, right? So it's like once we get that machine working, because that's the thing, there's plenty of places to advertise. Every business of a certain size needs this. It seems like at least once they get to 20 people, they need this. Otherwise, it becomes a major problem. So there's plenty of businesses that size that we can market to, et cetera, et cetera. So then let's talk about the tasks, activities, and deliverables and the work to be done, right? So for the marketing strategy, I've got that covered. Okay. I will say, hey, let's do this. I'm not going to be like, well, what do you think we should do? Yes, I'm going to ask for your input, that sorts of stuff, but I'm going to say, okay, let's do these people in this market. Let's reach out this way. I will put that whole thing together. That's my skill set here, right? And when it comes to the copywriting, so all the copy for the ads, the landing pages, the outreach emails, anywhere else that written messaging is required, I'll provide all of that. Okay, that's all included. I'm not going to say, okay, it's going to cost you $1 per word or any kind of crap like that. Okay, so I will handle all the copywriting and all the sales language to make everything sell well when we get it in front of people. For the graphic design, I can provide that for things like brochures, mailers, landing pages, etc. To a certain extent, right? Like once it starts to get a little crazy, we might need to hire an outside party, right? Either through Upwork or through Fiverr or some other thing like that. Third-party vendors may be required. That's not like my main level of skill set, but I got some pretty decent chops, okay? So I can put some things together. For media buying, I am willing to either provide those services, so I will set up and run the Google search ads, or we can work together to do that. So that way you know what's going on, you can help ensure that it's successful, and we set it up together. So either one works for me. I know that's one of the biggest complaints with media buyers. You have no idea what's going on, what you're paying for, what's working, what's not, what are they doing to try to make it work better. Usually none of that stuff gets communicated to the client. So I would make sure that problem is solved, whether we do it together or I do it and then just constantly inform you of what is going on. For sales scripting, I will help you develop a sales presentation that we both believe will offer the highest chance of conversion from lead to client when presenting to prospects. You will do the actual sales presentations. So that means the copy, the order of what things go in, what slides we need, what would make for a really amazing presentation, what should we include, all that sort of stuff. So that way, if we get an opportunity, you can knock their socks off. It's like, I set them up, you knock them down. That's the kind of relationship that I would love to create. Then for the industry knowledge, obviously, you're expected to provide me with appropriate industry knowledge when requested, when asked for, to ensure a message to market match, right? That I'm not saying something that doesn't make any sense or, trying to talk about cybersecurity when I have no idea what I'm talking about. We want to make sure that all that stuff relates well to the market that we're going to be marketing to. And also, you will provide the managed IT and cybersecurity services to the clients, just so we're crystal clear on that, right? That's kind of like an obvious given. I don't have the ability to do that, and you do, but I just thought I would outline that in the tasks, activities, and deliverables. Now, for the term, okay, I will be acting as a fractional CMO, starting, I would presume, sometime this month, within the next week or so, for an estimated period of performance for about 12 weeks, okay? After the initial 12-week period, the business relationship can be extended if we both say, hey, man, that was really great. Lots of fun. We made lots of money. Let's go continue this and maybe build something bigger. That would be exciting to me. And at that time, we can, come up with a separate agreement because we'll probably have new goals at that point and just decide, okay, what's going to be the next scope of work for either Q1 or the entirety of 2023 in the foreseeable future. Where do we want to go with this, right? So for the 12 weeks, I think that is totally enough time to start enacting on these things, start getting them going, and kind of give you a sample of what it's going to look like working together longer term, right? It's like that first meeting we had was like the first date. Now we're going on vacation together for a few months, and then we're going to decide if we're going to get married, right? That's just a good way to look at it. So for the retainer schedule, the retainer for this period of work will be $9,800 per month with the $4,995 in credit applied to the first month's payment. So that's from the previous work that we did together where I said that would apply to the first one, which would leave a remaining balance of $4,805 due. First payment will be made prior to starting any work, and any additional payments will be made 30 and 60 days after the first payment, or on a specific day of the month if you prefer that, right? It's like, oh man, I like to get all my bills on the 7th or something like that. That's totally fine by me if it makes it easier for accounting purposes, okay? So the total amount due between the $4,805 for the first payment and the two other payments of $9,800 for the 12 weeks of working together, basically through the end of the year, that would equate in $24,405. Now, given that the average client lifetime value of the prospects that we're going to be targeting is over $500,000, when we retain just one, okay? We just got to get one person. That will pay for my work many, many multiples over. And my goal, personally, is to get at least 3 new clients with a combined lifetime value of over $1.5 million, okay? That's a 61x return. So I think that's totally doable. That's why I love this so much, because it's so easy to get your results. We just got to get one, and it's $500,000. Like, you kidding me? Right? But obviously, we want to try to get as many results as we possibly can. That's what's really exciting to me, is that personally, I'm coming up to the end of this big contract for this huge legal event. I'm looking at a few different options of what do I want to do next year, right? What I really want to focus on, what do I want to build out and create a monster. And this is one of the industries I'm looking at now, okay? Because I had no idea the kind of money that could be made with this, right? Man, it's like you find the right clientele that can pay you $5 or $10 grand a month, and they're going to pay you for the next 8.5 years. Oh my God, that's insane. That sounds fantastic. So if we can create a system that we can use to spend $1 and get $2 back. As soon as we can do that, double the money, it's how fast can you spend $1? That's what it's really all about. And then there's like the other operational things of like, okay, how do we bottleneck it where like you're not totally slammed with sales calls all day, and maybe you'd rather just go do like the in-person presentations rather than just talk on the phone, or how can we actually, like, could we take on 7 new clients in a month? Like if I had the ability to deliver that with advertising, could you fulfill on it? Right? That's like another big operational challenge. And it's like, how big do you want to go and all those sorts of stuff. But man, it seems like sky's the limit here. Like if we can get people in, we can count on that cash flow for a long time. And we just have to be able to, 1, deliver on the services regularly every month. And then 2, be able to take on new clients at a fast enough rate to match what advertising could deliver. Because that's the big challenge. It's like, first you got to figure out what works. And then once you do, it's just a matter of how fast can you spend money. And then can you fulfill on the orders you actually sell? Right? That's what it's all about. And so that's what's so exciting to me. So anywho, look this over, reply back, let me know your thoughts. And then, we'll take the next step. And I can just send over the next invoice. We'll get started together. And first, we will start with the referral network. Then we will move on to the business partnerships, which is kind of like referrals, at just like a little bit greater level in a sense. It's a little bit different opportunity. And then once we kind of get those things rolling and rolled out, then we can start taking a look at what we want to do with Google search ads. And we would say, okay, we know kind of already where we want to be. We have an idea roughly of what's going to happen, right? We're going to put an ad out for certain keywords. They're going to click on it. They're going to go to a landing page. They're going to opt in. What's going to happen after that to lead them to book a call. And then ultimately, what's the budget that you want to spend for that, right? Because it's going to cost some money. But ideally, we can find something that offers a return. That's really what it's all about. And that's why I said, hey, let's find out this customer lifetime value, because if we know this person's worth $500,000 or at least 60 grand the first year, there's a lot of money that could be spent to get them as a customer. And then it just comes down to what's a return on ad spend, right? How much do we have to spend in money to acquire a customer? And then how fast can we spend that money to acquire them? That's what it's all about, my friend. So I'm super excited to really ramp this up with you. And yeah, man, reply back. Let me know your thoughts. And we'll go from there.